Rain God Returns, Issue 4, Jaguar Tower. Here we have on the front cover of the last issue an image of Sakchen, the acolyte of the shaman who's gone up to the temple city to track the stars. And here's a field of stars he's looking up, so that's indicating that this is the issue that we figure out if we can do it. And here on the title page, we have the actual Jaguar Tower, you see, and a bunch of shamans climbing up the stairs. Here's the Jaguar, and here's the ball court with the stumps that we just cleared in the last issue with the help of this magical elixir, and a little plaque with an image of chalk on it. And here's a plaque that I made myself. Look at that. Isn't that nice? These are available. I made a whole bunch of these. Let's see if I can grab some. Look at this. Just doing this off camera. Look at all these. Look. I made them all different kinds of. Look, this one is inset, the eyes and the flaming axe, or the smoking axe, and here's one that's been debossed. And this one I didn't actually glue together yet. So that is what that is. It's actually the same size too, actually. So we will start to read this final issue. Here's Chalk standing in the entrance of his stone wasp nest. And there's, again, in the moonlight, or maybe this is the sunlight, actually. It's the morning. Here's a shadow of him, of his real image, of his real body. He's saying, Sakchen, wake up. Get up. Let's go see if the stumps have been burned down. And Sakchen's not quite waking up. He says, it's still dark out there. But he gets up and yawns and says, they're still burning. These are the stumps that they've cleaned out, just all in one day. And Chalk says, they'll be done by tonight. It's not too early to visit Jaguar Temple, I hope. We need to settle this as soon as possible. Because as you remember from the last issue, they had a little conflict with Jaguar Priest. He didn't like the fact that they cleared this whole section of the forest just to make a ball court. So, inside Jaguar Temple, they paused in the atrium. It was a hive of activity. Potions bubbled on braziers. Mats were being woven. Voices filled the room. Aha, I wondered what he did with all these acolytes. There's all the acolytes in there doing stuff. Such a small room. There must be a dozen like this in this building. And from this little darkened doorway back here comes a Jaguar priest's voice. You come this way, you two. Oh, look there against the wall. There's a giant picture of a jaguar. All these acolytes are doing something. He's got them all crammed in there. They go into that small room and they find here in the center, looks like a little model. Chalk says, what's that? And Sakchen is amazed. Wow. And Jaguar Priest says, I have built a model for the observation tower. I know exactly how to construct it. You see, there will be ladders on the inside leading to different levels. And the whole scaffolding will be covered by rush mats, then whitewashed. That's what they're doing. They're weaving these mats that are going to go on the outside of this temple, this tower. That way, the inside will be dark like a cave, and then you emerge on the top and see the whole night sky surrounding you. So this is a pretty good idea. It's like he's made a little diorama. You look very pleased about this, Jaguar. It will be my crowning achievement. He is pretty. This is the first time we've seen him smiling. Look, the corners of his eyes are actually creased up. But Sak Chen is wondering, this is his achievement? You know what, Jaguar? We could paint jaguars all over this thing, just like inside your shrine. See, he's feeding into this guy's pride. Of course the tower will be ornamented with jaguars. This will be dedicated to Jaguar God. Of course, says Chalk. And Sak Chen says, well? And Chalk says, shush. The workers have probably gathered outside by now. We should go get them started. So he's making a deal with this priest. And outside, sure enough, there's a bunch of people gathered. Hello, friends. Are you ready? As soon as you make more of that supercharged sake, that's what this stuff was. If you remember from the last issue, they had to drink this stuff, and they cleared that whole yard, the ball court, in one day with supercharged sake in their veins. Oh no, we won't need that today. No, they say. No, really, friends, today will be easy. We just need to dig the foundation and erect the poles. Just follow me. He doesn't realize how difficult that is. Between the new ball court and the old plaza, dozens of workers assembled and began the day's work. So there's the ball court, and here's the old plaza, like back this way. Once the first pole was erected, they used it as a jib to pull the next one in place. You see how they looped it over the top and pulled this one up. And one of them says, I wish I had some of that strong sake. And this one's grunting. Me too. And they're all digging this little platform. The holes need to be at least 4 feet deep. While some of the workers stabilized the pole, others backfilled the hole with gravel, which others dug with from this circular pit. That's what these guys are doing. Or ditch. This was the most difficult task. Even though limestone gravel was plentiful beneath the thin layer of rich black soil. Now, I'm going to read one more section here just to move us along. Amazingly, miraculously, by sunset, the 4 main supports of the were sturdily sunk into the ground. However, here's a cross section. The holes were too shallow to support the tall beams. A solid foundation, 5 meters thick, was required to hold up this tower. So they sunk the hole down, but they needed to mound up more gravel around it. Skunk Priest chanted to his god for assistance. Slowly, echoes emanated from the dark forest. See these little guys coming out of the forest. Small forms appeared at the misty edge. A sharp, musky odor filled the ball court as hundreds of skunks advanced toward the tower. As Skunk Priest chanted, the skunk god's army of workers assembled and began digging. Thousands of little skunks digging. See? Scrape, 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 scrape. And they're all throwing this gravel up into this mound. Before dawn arrived, Skunk God had achieved what a village of humans could not do in a week. Each animal was a wayab of Skunk God. The ring of skunks operated as a single being. With hours remaining before sunrise, the skunks surrounded the ball court and sent limestone gravel sailing through the air. Soon, a layer of gravel covered the field. Skunk God sent shafts of golden light, or Sun God, sent shafts of golden light through the clouds of dust as the skunks returned to the forest. So you see what they did here. They mounded this up around between the ball court and the old courtyard. And then they gathered around and filled the whole ball court with gravel. So the whole thing has been paved in one day and night. Moon Priest, Maze Priest, and Skunk Priest organized the workers. We need to strip these branches and make poles for the scaffolding. And these are the maze priests. Make these ladders strong enough to hold several men. Lash the poles together tightly. And here's Skunk Priest. Let's make this trap door big enough for the ladder to fit through. He's calling down. So he's up there calling down, and they're building ladders. By nightfall, it was ready to mount. Chalk was the first to the top. Finally! Look, his eyes are giant saucers looking up at the sky. Sakchen followed. Miracles were becoming so regular that he was barely amazed. Has it only been 2 days? Moon Priest was third. He brought sheets of flattened bark and charcoal to record the paths of the sky wanderers. Throughout the night, Priest filed up the scaffolding and lingered on the platform as long as possible, chanting to the constellations that each identified as his god. Each priest told the story of his god's genesis. Moon Priest marked down the stars' positions and paths. So they're doing the work of tracking and identifying each one of these constellations on little sheets of flattened bark. And that is where we'll stop for this week. Next week, we'll move on to the next page. And I hope you return. Follow this story.